Hi, welcome boys and girls to our story time this week. We are going to be reading about Ruth and Naomi. Naomi was a woman who lived for many years in a faraway country called Moab. She had traveled there with her husband and 2 sons. They made a happy life together. As her sons grew up, they married 2 young women from Moab. Their names were Orpah and Ruth. Naomi welcomed Orpah and Ruth into her home, loving them as if they were her own daughters. One day, Naomi's husband became ill, and eventually he passed away. Naomi's sons also got sick and died. This left Naomi, Orpah, and Ruth alone and very sad. Without her husband at her side, Naomi became homesick for the town where she grew up. Ruth tried to comfort her, but Naomi decided to return to her home in Bethlehem. Naomi had been gone a long time. The thought of returning home brought Naomi great comfort. "I love both of you," Naomi told her daughter-in-laws, "but I miss my family in Bethlehem. I would like to return there to live." Once the young woman helped pack up the household, Naomi was ready to travel. "The 2 of you should return to your families here in Moab," Naomi said. "You are both young enough to marry again and have children. I am older and will not get married again. Although I will miss you both, it is best that I go alone." Orpah cried out at the thought of leaving Naomi. She kissed Naomi on the cheek, gave her a hug, and said, "I will miss you. You have been very kind to me. Have a safe journey to Bethlehem." Orpah picked up her bundle and went back to her family's home. The thought of leaving Naomi made Ruth very sad. "Please do not ask me to leave," Ruth said. "Where you go, I will go. Where you sleep, I will sleep. Your family is my family, and your God is my God." Naomi was pleased that Ruth wanted to stay with her. The 2 women picked up their bundles and began to walk to Bethlehem. It would be a very long trip. Naomi and Ruth prayed together that God would provide for them on their journey. Ruth and Naomi walked for many days to reach Bethlehem. They arrived at the city as the grain harvest began. Ruth set her bundle down. She turned to Naomi and said, "Let me get into these fields. I can gather the grain dropped by the people who work there. We will have grain to pound into flour. I can bake bread for us to eat." Naomi rested as Ruth went into the field nearby. Ruth walked behind the reapers, gathering the grain they dropped as they worked. Ruth worked all day. Late in the afternoon, a man named Boaz came to the field to see how well the harvest was going. Boaz was in charge of the workers. He noticed a pretty young woman following his workers. Boaz called over one of the reapers. "Who is that woman in the field?" he asked. "She is from Moab. Her name is Ruth," the worker replied. "She traveled here with Naomi and asked if she could gather the grain we dropped so they would have something to eat. Since she has been such a great help to Naomi, we did not think that she would mind." And Boaz did not mind. In fact, he was pleased to help this woman and Naomi. Boaz went and introduced himself to Ruth. "I have heard good things about you," said Boaz. "You take care of your mother-in-law. You are kind to others and help my workers. Please continue to work in my fields. My workers will not bother you. When you are thirsty, please drink from my water pots. When I bring food for my workers, I want you to eat with them." "May God bless you and your family," Ruth said. When Boaz brought food for his workers, Ruth ate with them. She saved part of her food and took it to Naomi. Naomi was pleased with the food and the grain. "Who was this man who gave you food and grain?" Naomi asked. Ruth told Naomi about meeting Boaz, or what he had said to her. "Boaz is the brother of my husband," Naomi said. "He is a good and kind man. May God bless him for his kindness towards us." Boaz continued to watch Ruth as she worked in his fields each day. He talked with her and saw how much Ruth loved Naomi. Boaz became very fond of Ruth. Boaz was a man of strong faith. He went to Ruth one day and said, "I would like for you to become my wife. Your mother-in-law Naomi may live with us, and I will take care of both of you." Ruth and Boaz were soon married, and Naomi lived with them in their home. Ruth had a baby boy. They named the baby Obed, and they all thanked God for their blessings of home and family. Well, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed story time this week. We will see you next Wednesday.